Hey guys, welcome back to Your Mindset, Your Power. Have you ever felt like nothing is actually wrong, but your body doesn't get the message? Like you're tense, on edge, always expecting something to go wrong, even when everything around you is okay. What if I told you, my friend, that you're not broken? You're just stuck in survival mode. And the hardest part, sometimes you don't even realize you're in it. But that feeling doesn't come from nowhere. No, for some of us, it comes from seasons in our life where things were not okay, where we had to survive, not just for a moment, but for a long time. And somewhere along the way, that way of being became our baseline. Today, I want to talk to you about survival mode, but not from a textbook, from real life, from my life. Because I spent a good part of my life in that state without even realizing it. It wasn't something I only stepped into during stressful moments. It was how I lived. And even long after those hard seasons passed, my body did not know how to let it go. When you live for years in an environment where chaos becomes the background, you don't question it. You adapt. And those adaptations start to feel like who you are. For me, a big part of that came from a period of my life when I was in a relationship that was emotionally and physically abusive. So my body learned to stay alert all the time. And over time, that showed up in ways I didn't even question. That becoming hyper aware of everything. I could tell from the sound of footsteps in the hallway whether the evening would be calm or stormy. If the steps were slow, maybe I could breathe. But if they were fast, sharp, my body would tighten before I even knew why. I would stand there almost holding my breath, trying to read the air, waiting for a sign that I was safe. That kind of vigilance, it kept me safe, but it also rewired me. Because I didn't just learn to read people, I learned to disappear, to minimize my needs, to not take up too much space, to hold everything in, and somehow still show up like everything was fine. Survival mode makes you really good at pretending. Yep. I became really good at wearing the mask of, I'm good, even when I wasn't. From the outside, I looked strong, capable, dependable. But inside, I was exhausted and honestly scared. Scared of being hurt, scared of being seen, scared of what would happen if I actually told the truth about how I felt. So I stayed in that relationship for years, feeling trapped, feeling like I couldn't survive on my own. So I stayed, and I suffered in silence. And the truth is, I had abandoned myself so completely that I don't even think I could have answered honestly if someone had asked me how I was really doing. But here's the thing, my friend, your body always knows, even when your mind tries to ignore it. For me, it showed up in different ways. Sleepless nights, a constant tightness in my stomach, waves of anxiety that I didn't even recognize as an anxiety because I was so used to feeling that way. And one of the biggest illusions of survival mode is control. It makes you confuse safety with certainty. Like if you can control every detail, even the smallest ones, nothing can hurt you again. Sometimes it looks like meticulously controlling your environment. I became really good at controlling everything I could. I became obsessive with cleaning. I remember being constantly tense if my place wasn't spotless. Constantly cleaning on top of what was already clean. Yep. You're always on edge. Relaxing feels dangerous. Even something small like someone walking in with their shoes on would instantly make me feel tense. And another coping mechanism I used, I would go to the gym 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. Yes, my friend, you heard right. If I stayed busy enough, if I exhausted myself enough trying to control the uncontrollable, then I didn't have to feel what was underneath. And I also became an expert at people pleasing. People pleasing is often a subconscious form of control. While it feels like you're being kind, it's really a way of trying to manage the environment to make sure no one is upset so you can avoid conflict, rejection, or being hurt. It comes from the need to manage other people's emotions, to feel safe. And when I did not feel that control, it didn't just feel uncomfortable. It felt terrifying. Because if I wasn't in control, then who was I? Who could I feel safe? And this is one of the hardest part about living in survival mode, my friend. It doesn't always look like struggle. Because from the outside, it looked like discipline. It looked like strength, resilience. Perfectionism looks like high standards, right? People pleasing looks like kindness. Being constantly busy looks like dedication. But on the inside, survival was running the show. And no matter how much you do, no matter how much you achieve, you still don't feel at peace. Because survival mode doesn't create peace, my friend. It sustains fear. And most of my healing has been learning how to exhale. Literally exhale. Let it go. To unclench my body. To notice where I'm holding tension, even when nothing is wrong. And I didn't even realize how much I was holding until someone pointed it out. My husband, when we started dating, would tell me, babe, relax your hands. Release your fists. And I would look down and I realized I was so tense for no reason. Or at least no present reason. That's what happens when you live in survival mode for so long, my friend. Your body doesn't know how to turn it off. It learns to stay ready, on guard, even when you're safe. And I'm going to be honest with you. Even today, after all the work I've done, I still catch myself sometimes holding tension without realizing it. And maybe as you are listening to this, my friend, something is starting to click. Maybe you're realizing, this sounds like me. And maybe this is helping you realize this is not just how you are. This is something your body learned. Because survival mode is not a personality. No, it's a state. It's your nervous system stuck in protection mode. The same system that's designed to keep you safe, when you're in real danger, like being chased by a lion, is the same system that can get activated by simply a thought, by a memory, by what if. And your brain doesn't always know the difference between what's happening right now and what might happen. So it reacts the same way. Tension, fear, overthinking. That constant feeling of being on edge. And if you have lived in that state for a long time, continuously, my friend, it starts to feel normal, even when it's exhausting. So let me ask you something, not as a coach, but just as someone, as your friend who really understands. Maybe this is you right now. Maybe your shoulders are tight, or you didn't even notice until this moment. Maybe your jaw is clenched. Maybe your hands are not fully relaxed. Maybe your mind is already thinking about what's next, what could go wrong, what you need to fix. And if that's you, my friend, I just want you to know you're not broken. Your body is just doing what it learned to do. And I'm so glad you're here today because change is possible. And you know how everything starts to change? With awareness. That moment when you pause and say, wow, is this what's been happening? Because your brain cannot change what you're not aware of, right? But the moment you see it, you create space. Space between you and the pattern. And in that space, you get your power back. Your brain is always learning, always adapting, always creating patterns based on repetition. So if you have spent years living in tension, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, your brain and your body learned that as the default. But here's the good news. The same way it learned that, it can learn something new. Not overnight, not perfectly, but consistently. Every time you notice and choose a different response, you're literally teaching your nervous system a new way to be. And I want to share with you what started to help me, not as a checklist, but as a practice. It started with something really simple. Pausing. Just catching myself in those moments. When I felt the tension rising, and instead of immediately reacting or going into overthinking, I would stop and ask myself, what am I feeling right now? Not to fix it, not to judge it, just to notice. Sometimes the answer was, I'm anxious. Sometimes I'm scared. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed. And sometimes all the above. And then I would remind myself very gently, you're safe. And at first, I want to be honest, that felt kind of strange and weird because my body did not believe it. But I kept doing it over and over again. I would take a breath, slow down my body, release my shoulders, and clench my hands, and just sit with it. And little by little, my body started to listen. And this is where mindfulness became part of my daily routine and my daily life, even now. Nothing complicated, no pressure to be perfect, just 5-10 minutes a day, sitting with myself, breathing, coming back to the present moment. And I know it sounds simple, but listen, those few minutes, they started to change everything. Because I wasn't just calming my mind, I was teaching my body that it didn't have to stay in survival mode. And I want to be real with you. This is not a quick fix. This is not just do these 5 steps and you'll be happy and not in survival mode anymore. No, it doesn't work like that. No. Any meaningful change in your life requires time, patience, effort, and consistency. Just like building strength, right? Just like learning something new. This is something you practice every day, and then the next day, and then the next. Because survival mode is not living. Survival mode is holding your breath. Living is excelling. Survival mode is fear. Living is presence. It's allowing yourself to feel without getting stuck. It's being here instead of constantly being pulled back to the past or pushed into the future. So I won't make unrealistic promises, my friend. But I can promise you this. Change is possible. Yes, it's possible. I've lived it. I'm still living it. And I'll be right here with you every step of the way. Because I'm not perfect. I'm on this journey too. Putting in the work, learning, growing every single day. And if there's one thing I want you to take from this episode is this. Your mind is powerful, so powerful, that it can keep you stuck in survival or help you create a life of presence, peace, and possibility. And that choice starts with awareness. We are all on this journey, this beautiful, messy, human journey called life together. And I want you to know I believe in you, my friend. I truly do. And if this episode touched something deep in you, save it, come back to it, and share with someone who might need this too. And if you would like to reach out to me, I would truly love reading your messages and connecting with you. I appreciate you, my friend, for being here, for listening, and for being part of this space with me. And remember, your mindset is not just what you think. It's where your power begins. I'll see you next week. Love you guys.